The leading character of this movie is Lady Malena, who has been shown alluring. Malena used to live in a small town. She was the dazzling beauty of that town. Townspeople had affections towards her, and the town's ladies had envy for her, and they had a desire to be like her. Each male of the town wanted that she may be the partner him. A boy used to live in that town named Renato, who was younger than Malena. One day Renato purchases a new bike. He goes to show it off to his friends. His friends say, "It has been overheard that Malena is going to pass through this way." They all yearn to have her look. So they gather at a place, and they cast their eyes on her as Malena as she passes from there. Renato continues to stare at her as he casts his eyes on her. He was unable to stop staring when she passes. Then he begins to stare at her at once, going in a corner. Even she reaches inside the city, but he continuously chases her. Malena's father was a teacher and had deaf ears. All these kids were his students. Then they are shown sitting in a classroom, and they are irritating Malena's father, talking about Malena in front of her father. Renato visits Malena's house and begins to keep an eye on her through the peephole. She is lying down sad there. Here it is revealed that Malena's husband had left in the days of war with the military. He is still there. On the other side, a few friends of Renato come on the scene, who was telling the fish story about Malena. Once, she had asked me to bring a cigarette. Other townspeople had also thought that Malena is not a pious lady. Here it has been exerted to reveal what society thinks about lonesome ladies, and which words are fabricated about her. Contrarily, it is shown that Renato had started to feel love for Malena, hearing others as she is not a pious lady and advanced for everyone. Renato had started imagining her as she is with her. He was too young but wanted to lead a life like elders. So he puts on the pant of his father after cutting them, because he used to feel embarrassment in short pants. His father went aggressive for this act and he was beaten many times. Renato did not stop and he started chasing Malena like the young boys constantly. He used to keep an eye on Malena through the peephole, and she was unaware of it at all, that someone is monitoring her. One day, the news is broken that Malena's husband has met his fate in the battle. She is sunken into sorrow, hearing this news, and she begins to cry while lying down. Here it is exposed that she was madly in love with her husband. She had lost the battle when she knows that her husband is no more. She is shifted to her father's house thinking about what she will do living here. Once, Renato is working at a place. He hears that people are speaking out the vulgar words for Malena. He thinks, "I am the only one who knows the truth of Malena. I will have to reveal that she is not an impious lady and was really in love with her husband." Looking at her through the window, he starts thinking as he has come near her. He says to her, "Don't worry. I am with you. Give me time so I may grow." Afterwards, he moves to church. He requests God, takes care of Malena, and I will light the candles here daily in return. One day Malena's father receives a note. There was the statement that Malena is involved with every man of this town, and your daughter is not a pious lady. Reading it, he loses his temper. Disowning Malena, he asks her to leave from there. Malena is left alone one more time. Knowing that Malena has again started to live alone, he begins to keep an eye on her routine-wise. One night, when he goes to Malena's house, he peeps through the peephole that there is a police officer in her house. It was appearing as there is a real relationship between them. Witnessing it, Renato feels down in the dumps. I had taken her as a pious lady, and I was going to reveal that she is a pious lady. It was hard to believe him. Then that police officer comes out of her house. Renato hides in a corner. Coming outside, the police officer encounters a doctor. He says that Malena is in my relationship. What were you doing inside? Due to this, the quarrel is begun between them. Immediately, the police also approach there. Now this news had started to spread throughout the town. That Malena is in a relationship with an already wedded person. And she may be arrested for this. Malena is got worried. Then she hires a lawyer saying, "Help me." The lawyer wins the court case and it is legally proved that doctor was telling a lie. After winning the case, the same lawyer tries to seduce Malena. Malena defends her but of no use. Renato witnesses it and he becomes anxious. Then it is shown that Malena's father's aircraft is crashed when he was on the flight journey. Malena is agonized, knowing it. Because she had lost everyone who could favor her. Her husband's pension had stopped, which was granted to Malena. Because it was proved that her husband is no more. Now Malena's was getting financially poorer. She thinks a lot. But she does not conclude. What should she do? After a while, she starts cutting her hair, taking scissors. She says, "Why should I not be an impious lady if the worldly people blame me?" Renato feels bad, seeing all this. And he spends his time in depression. He had killed his appetite. His father agrees with what Renato wanted when he comes to know about it. Then it is shown that Malena was turned into the cheapest lady. All town's males used to visit her. As a result, the wives of males grew wrath. They were in a fit of rage and visit to Malena. And they exiled her after thrashing. Then it is shown that Malena's husband had returned. He was alive and someone had just spread the rumor about him. He returns to his house but finds Malena nowhere. He is unable to search out Malena even after a struggle. And other people were residing in their house. He asks about Malena. He is told that your wife had turned into an impious lady. Now she does not live here. When he moves to know about it to his friends. Then his friends refuse to help him. Do they say while insulting him, "Which type of a man you are?" Slapping him, they fall him down. Renato feels sorry, observing it. He thinks, now the time has come that I should tell about the character of Malena. How did he turn into the cheapest lady? Then Renato writes a note to him, Malena is not impious at all. Rather she has been compelled to be like this. Townspeople spread false news about her. Hearing it, she used to spend her time in grief. He reveals everything that happened to her. And how had she been exiled? Reading it, Malena's husband is gone aggressive. And he returns to take his wife. Then it has appeared that he comes back to the same town while walking with his wife. Townsfolk were still staring at both of them. But there was nothing like any allegation or irony in their eyes. Because her husband had accompanied her. Malena's husband could take revenge if they say ill. Townspeople had started honoring Malena, her husband, and they are well-wishers. Then it is shown that Renato meets Malena for the last time. Some fruits are fallen from Malena and Renato helps her to pick them up. He says to Malena, I will pray for you that your coming life may be spent blessed. And both of them take their ways. In the end, Renato monologue is shown. He says time passed, I fell in love with many girls. They used to ask me whether I will remember them. I said, yes. But she was the only one whom I never forgot and will never be able to forget. She was Malena. And the movie completes with it.